Okay, so we're recording now. Actually, on YouTube, they just announced today that more about data privacy. You cannot post something on YouTube if you've got people in the images if you haven't asked their prior permission. So if this goes on YouTube, is everybody okay? Yeah, yeah. Anyone not okay? Right. Okay. Not that it goes on there, but as I said, it's as a private link. But then if people share the link, then you should be okay with that as well. Right, here comes our guest singer. So who kicks it off? Every week we have our Emily.
Hi.
Hi, Emily.
Hi.
Hello, Emily.
And Emily kicks this off every week with a song. I have no idea what the song is today. So she's going to tell us in a minute. And then Emily normally sings and get people in the mood because it's Friday, you see. And then she disappears and reappears again next Friday. It's like magic. Right? So this is, for the people that don't know, it's a featured business. And Giovanna, you are our 49th featured business guest.
Lucky number.
Lucky number.
I hope.
My age.
Your age. Yeah.
You got to be lucky number for someone.
Yeah. Actually, we had people that had a good number because we had Het on here and his was 44 because he follows Formula One and his favorite driver was number 40. Sorry, 44. 44. What am I saying? 41. 44. And yeah, so he got the right number. Laszlo, what was your number?
47.
47. All right. Who was last week? I've forgotten.
That was a tricky number. My wife was born in 74 and she's 47 now. So
all right.
Some relation.
But all right, a little bit of trivia. Who was our guest last week?
Ida.
Who?
Ida.
No, that was weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
See?
It was Yvonne.
No.
Yvonne, yeah. Yvonne. Bojo.
Yvonne Bojo for the
Bojo. Yeah.
For the Circular Economy digital platform.
See?
I'm twice.
Right. We should do trivia. Who have been next week is the 50th one. We could ask, can anybody name the 50 guests?
Even
And
you
then
cannot.
what?
Even
And
you
then
cannot
what?
name it.
Well, then
Don't trade.
you can have a prize.
What kind of prize?
Well, okay, too many questions. I'll make one up. I'll make up a prize, right? Maybe some free training or something, right? Right. So, yeah.
Don't open nest now.
Okay, so we digress. So 50 next week is our 50th guest, right? I'm not going to tell you who it is, but we should do something special for that. And maybe we don't talk too long because Emily has to shoot, right? So
Hey. Special attention for the special 49 guests.
you'll get it, right?
You know?
Yeah, wait.
Let's not live in the future. Let's not live in the past. Today.
Very true, very true. The 49th guest will get all the spotlight attention in a minute, right? Just got to be patient.
Oh, wait, I'll wait.
Okay.
Sorry.
So Emily is the spotlight at the moment because she has to shoot as well. So Emily, quickly introduce yourself and what song you're going to sing and where are you and what you do.
Hi, everybody. So I'm based in Lausanne in Switzerland, but I'm originally from the UK. I have a creative arts education business for kids. So I teach music and I organize holiday camps and birthday parties for them. And then every Friday I'm here singing. And I'm going to sing a song called When You're Smiling and trying to keep it positive each week.
Oh, excellent. I love that one. Could you do parties for adults? Right, because we're like big kids, aren't we?
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about that more recently because I think it'd be really. I personally, maybe I'm a big kid, but I would love to play some of the party games.
Yeah, exactly. Me too.
Yeah.
Because when I play with the kids, I feel like a kid again. I think, well, why don't they do like things like this for adults? Because
Yeah.
inside every adult is a child, right? And sometimes we still want to be kids at some point. So do one, and then we'll all join. Who would be up for that? Right? Right? See?
Okay, we have an ant nest party then.
Yeah. See? Okay. So right, over to you, Emily.
Okay. When you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. When you're laughing, oh, when you're laughing, the sun comes shining through. But when you're crying, you bring on the rain. So stop your sighing, be happy again, keep on smiling. 'Cause when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. When you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. When you're laughing, oh, when you're laughing, the sun comes shining through. But when you're crying, you bring on the rain. So stop your sighing, be happy again, keep on smiling. 'Cause when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you.
Bravo.
Bravo.
Yeah. Is everyone smiling?
Bravo.
Yeah. Yeah. Boyan's smiling. Wow. Yeah. Right, everyone's smiling, so that's good. It worked. Right, so Emily, think about that for the adults, the kids' adventure thing for the adults, and then you already have our attention, so that'd be fun. Right, and as long as there's jelly and ice cream at the end, right?
Of course.
Okay. Okay, so Emily, I think you have to shoot. So thanks again for being our regular singer.
No problem.
Right, have a great weekend.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Right. Okay, so now the spotlight is on our 49th guest, right?
Finally.
Yes, right. So maybe because I'm terrible at pronouncing names and I'm terrible at even remembering names, right? So you can pronounce your full name and it saves me the embarrassment.
My name is Giovanna.
Giovanna.
Ghirardi. You can pronounce it however you want. It doesn't change the person. However way you want to pronounce it.
Right. Oh, excuse me, I've got the kids now in the next room. Right. They'll be coming in a minute. Right. So, and right, as we get going, so typically I steal the conversation, and then as people know, then we'll open up to the audience. But at any point, if you want to ask the audience a question, or they want to ask you something, if they raise their hand, because I might be asking that as part of the journey. So without further ado, you are our featured business 49th guest, and we welcome you to share the stage with us and tell us a bit more about you. So before we touch on the business side, we want to know who you are. So if you can just tell us, like, where are you living now? And a bit of background about, well, why are you living there? Are you originally from a different place? And just kind of set the scene.
Thank you, James. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, all the guests, for joining and listening to me. With all of the guests I haven't met before, so I'm pretty honored that you accept James' invitation to hear about myself. So thank you to you all. I was saying at the beginning, I was born in Brazil. I was raised in Brazil, and then I moved to Spain then I moved back to Italy, then I moved back to Spain, and that has been around nearly 19 years now.
And in Brazil, where were you born?
In the south of Brazil, in a state.
So let me try and guess. Santa Catarina.
Yes, that's where I'm from.
Florianopolis.
The state of Santa Catarina.
But not Florianopolis.
The town where I was born is actually a smaller town up north from Florianopolis.
Oh, right,
like
okay.
Maybe 70 kilometers away from Florianopolis.
So what age did you leave Brazil?
I was 18 when I left Brazil.
Wow. All right. Hi, Paul.
Hello.
Paul, you've missed the fun.
Oh.
Right. And that's it for another edition. So we'll see you next week. No, we're just starting.
You left Brazil 4 years ago, yes?
Well, we're just starting, so you haven't missed it. You missed the singing though.
Yeah.
So if you could sing then.
No, I'm learning. I'm learning. That's
okay.
But apparently I'm quite flat. I don't know what that is.
Steamroller.
Not enough my neck or something to learn.
Yeah, I'm flat. I was run over by a steamroller. Wow. Giovanna, do you actually sing? Do you sing? So?
In the shower, yes. Every morning.
Wow.
Me too. We should get together.
Do you want to give us a song or not?
No, absolutely not. I don't think you want to hear me singing.
Well, we've heard Boyan sing and that was bad. So
it might hurt your ears and you might sue me for damages later. No. Let's not do that with you.
But you are the, no, I can't say what you are, but I mean, we'll come to that later. So, right. So in Brazil, so then you left there and then you went to, why did you leave Brazil?
Because I was invited to join a student program to have a double degree, double Spanish-Brazilian degree in Spain. And then life happened and... But
you went alone to Spain?
Yeah. I came to Spain.
So you still have
without speaking Spanish, huh? I didn't knew a single word in Spanish when I arrived.
But I mean, Portuguese and Spanish similarities.
Similar, but not the
Chris
same.
is saying no. Right?
And especially not the same when you have to take exams. You have to sit exams, university law degree exams in Spanish. So it was a bit challenging.
Now you've said law. I was going to say, we can't sue you. You'll be suing us, right? Right, for singing. Right. So I know there's a difference actually, because my wife is from Brazil and she said when she even went to Portugal, she found it difficult to understand native Portuguese compared to Brazilian Portuguese. So there is a difference. So from Brazilian Portuguese to then Spanish, be a big difference.
It's fairly different. It's very different.
So you went there and you studied. You still have family in Brazil, I guess.
I do.
All right. And you go often, or maybe not so often now, but you.
Yes, before pandemic and hopefully after pandemic, I would hope that at least once a year I would be in Brazil for an extended period of time.
For Carnival.
Perhaps not for Carnival, perhaps not for carnivals, perhaps not for Christmas holidays, because these are times when so much happening. And when you've been away for so long, when it's too much happening, to me is kind of stressful.
So do you see yourself more kind of European now than necessarily Brazilian, or is the Brazilian person still a European, or how does that work?
It's hard to, I think it's very complicated to put myself in one box. It's it's not either Brazil or either European. Of course, I live in Europe now. I have European grandparents. My grandparents on my dad's side were Italian. My grandparents on my mom's side were half German, half Portuguese. So it's not that simple. Then I'm married to an Irish citizen, and our daughter was born in Spain. So it's not say that I am more of one or more of the other. It's not that simple.
So you mentioned you're married. So you're married to a Spanish guy?
No, I'm married to an Irishman.
Oh, Irishman.
Yeah.
Right. And you met him in New York?
No, I met him here in Madrid.
I'm joking. I'm thinking of a song, actually. I don't even know if it was an Irishman, but anyway. No, an Englishman in New York. That was it. Right.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, and you have a daughter?
I do.
How old is she?
She's 2.5 now.
Ah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow. And she's multilingual, or will be?
She is.
She is already?
Yeah.
In Spanish?
Portuguese, Spanish, and English.
Oh, wow. Like hours speak 3 languages. Okay, so where did the Italian bit, why did you go from Spain to Italy and then back to Spain? What was that for?
My plan before coming to Spain was to move to Italy. There was a plan of going back to Italy to honor family roots, to have a life there, whatever it was. But that plan got postponed because I was not expecting to this. When I came to Spain, this opportunity arose because at that year we were celebrating 500 years of the 𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛 Treaty that divides the world between the Spanish and the Portuguese in two, and blah, 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 blah. So because the governments of Latin American countries, Spain and Portugal, were celebrating this treaty, or the 500th anniversary of this treaty, they put some efforts into education. And among the efforts in the education was the exchange of students. And coincidentally, I was starting university, and the students that were starting university were offered this opportunity. So it's not something I was expecting, it's not something was planned. I was planning something similar, but to live in Italy. But the opportunity was one of a kind. So together with my family, of course, I was very young then, we decided that I should take on the opportunity and then see how things would evolve. And at a point in time, the desire to spend an extended period of time in Italy was still there, and it was still calling me. So that's what I did.
And in comparison, did you prefer Italy to Spain?
In comparison, at the time, remember I told you I came to Spain and I didn't speak a word of Spanish. So throughout the first 1.5 years, I was going to law school in the morning, though I couldn't understand a thing of what was happening, or barely enough. And in the afternoons, I was going to Spanish classes. So the first 1.5 years, I struggle quite a lot. I had always been a top student. I had always had top grades, and not understanding the language was holding me back. And that was obviously frustrating. It was frustrating to be on my own and having to deal with life on my own. It was hard, it was difficult. Obviously, one is able to pass through all this. It's not impossible. It is possible. I'm here to prove that. But it doesn't mean it's easy. Life is not easy, I know. But I think when I moved to Italy, I was here for 3 years, I needed a fresh air. I needed to see things a little bit different. And living in Italy, I really loved. My plan was to go back to Italy after I finished university. But having lived there also made me fall in love a little bit more with Spain when I came back. My mindset changed. It was not the things happening to me, it was me happening to things. So where I was, and it didn't matter. I could be in Italy, I could be in Brazil, I could be in the US, I could be in Japan, Australia, whatever, it doesn't matter. I am a being that is able to make lucky, to be lucky, to make a living.
Yeah, but you speak Italian now.
I do speak Italian.
And obviously Spanish. So in Spain, where do you live?
I lived in a few different places. So I went to university in a university called Universidad de Castilla-La Mancha, which
Sounds
is
romantic when you say it.
It is kind of romantic because it's the land of Don Quixote. I'm sure you heard Miguel de Cervantes is where the Don Quixote novel was based. So I lived in La Mancha, in Albacete for around 5 years. Then I moved to Madrid and I lived in Madrid for around 14 years with a few interruptions, and where I lived also in Alicante, half in Alicante, half in Madrid to perform a contract. So those are the places I lived while in Spain.
And now?
Now I live in Madrid.
In Madrid, okay. So you met your husband in an Irish bar.
Not really fun.
No?
I didn't even know Irish bar were a thing, you know?
Yeah, that's a typical meeting place, isn't it?
I had to learn Irish bars are a thing.
Yeah. So you didn't meet in an Irish bar?
No, I didn't.
Can you share where you met?
We met each other through friends.
All right. Okay. So you have also, just learn a bit more about your family on your side. You have siblings?
I do. I have another sister that lives in Geneva.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, she should join. Where is she?
She's probably with her kids just now, just about to pick up her kids from school.
She's an older sister?
She is older.
Okay.
And I have a...
Yeah,
sorry?
living in Geneva. Wow. I have to learn about her story. Okay. So, and a younger...
I have a younger brother.
Okay. And where is he?
He lives in Brazil.
All right, okay. But he wants to come to Europe as well?
I don't, to visit, yes. To travel, yes. To live, probably, possibly not.
Right. And they're lawyers as well?
No, my sister is a medical doctor and my brother is an engineer.
All right. And footballer?
I think he's more of the basketball team.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I get my son plays football and I said, well, you've got to be the best. You're half Brazilian and Scottish. I mean, great combination. Right. But anyway, So, right, before we go into the business, do you have any hobbies or anything, childhood hobbies that you had and likes, or things that you did, like karting or something? Because karting seems to be a popular thing. Like Laszlo was a karter. Our last guest was a karter, and the one before that was a karter. So go-karting. So I mean, did you do go-karting?
No.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
it's not.
Oh.
It's not a hobby I have. Karting.
Oh, okay.
I enjoy running. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy reading. I enjoy playing in the pool with my daughter. I enjoy just not doing anything.
So Brazilian cooking, feijoada and stuff like that.
Not really.
Picanha.
No. It's more simpler cooking, Mediterranean style cooking. Yes.
I thought my
Mediterranean.
Yes, paella Mediterranean.
Yeah, of all my Brazilian friends, they ask me to do the picanha. Can you believe it? Right. But anyway,
It's not something. It's not really cooking, is it? Like,
no, but there's
you buy the meat. It's a type of meat, so you buy the type of meat and you put on fire.
Well, the preparation, you have to cut it the right way. You have to prepare it with sea salt. You have to cook it so it's, well, depending on how you like it in the middle. Right? There is an art to it, and they don't do it. So I do it.
I suppose there is. I suppose there is.
Don't tell a
art to
picanha
everything.
chef that there's no, just throw it on the grill and whatever. I think mine's the best. But anyway, so you're quite sporty then.
I am quite sporty. I could be a little bit more, and I'm hoping to be a little bit more. Pregnancy and having a 2-year-old makes it difficult. Time is limited. I run a business. It's very busy. So
you didn't do tennis? Yeah. You didn't play tennis?
No, I didn't play tennis, no.
But you know the Brazilian Gustavo Kuerten?
I do.
Guga. Right? He came from Florianopolis.
He did.
Yeah, I know him personally.
He's a bit of a hero.
Yeah, but that's another story. Okay, we'll save that one for another. So, right, let's move forward. So, as a child growing up, did you feel that you wanted to go into kind of, we're going to pivot in a minute into your business, into what you're doing now?
As a child, I wanted to be a diplomat.
A diplomat?
So as a child, I always wanted to live abroad. The dream was always there. I always wanted to work internationally. I didn't envision being a lawyer. It was not nobody in my family except myself is a lawyer. So there was no clear path there. But sitting where I am sitting now, I probably doing what I've dreamed as a child, in the sense that I am living abroad and I work in one of the most international environments that could be. I work with intellectual property. Intellectual property is not only creativity and innovation, but is also very international, because it can be local, but it's most business I work with, when they are up to the level of thinking of intellectual property, they actually thinking more internationally.
So in business, we'll come to that in a minute. You have a special title, because I've seen, the title that we used. So tell me about why that in particular, and what is the title? Share that with people.
You mean the title I use on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Okay. So in LinkedIn, I call myself the intellectual property alchemist. you know what alchemist is, no? Like transform something into something marvelous. Yeah.
I read the book, The Alchemist.
They do gold from anything.
Yes. So before pandemic, I used to run a few different network events here in Madrid. And every time I would introduce myself, hi, hello, I'm 𝗤𝗢𝗔𝗥. What do you do? Oh, I'm a lawyer. The conversation will automatically freeze for a few minutes. People say, oh, I'm not sure if I want to talk to a lawyer, especially not a woman lawyer. So as I have to do something about it. I have to introduce myself a different way. I have to call myself something else. And I said, well, what I do is transform ideas, raw ideas, into assets company will make gold money out of it. So I decided to call myself the intellectual property alchemist. At the beginning, when I decided to do that, it was only when I met someone face to face, and that made the conversation fun. So instead of saying, no, I'm a lawyer, I would say, oh, hello, nice to meet you. I'm 𝗤𝗢𝗔𝗥. Then the next question, what do you do? Oh, I'm intellectual property alchemist. Oh, what is that?
Exactly. Now,
then I come, oh, actually, I am a lawyer that transform raw ideas into assets, performing assets. And then the conversation was different. And the more the conversation was different, the more I said, I cannot say I'm a lawyer anymore. I have to say something else. And when this movement has proved to be solid, I changed my title on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, I think it's excellent. And I encourage people to do that, because otherwise when I always use the kind of your mother or a taxi driver test. You just got off a plane and you jumped in a taxi, and the taxi driver's asking, well, what do you do? And if you just said like, oh, I'm a sales guy, okay, the conversation kind of stops there, because then he has to ask another question, selling what? And then maybe he doesn't want to ask. He just think, well, maybe I'm embarrassed to ask. So start off with something. Maybe
I'm not even going to ask because this guy's going to try to sell me something.
Yeah, exactly. So, but if you start with something that's creating that curiosity, then people want to know more. I say, I mean, I use lots of different ones. That depends on who I'm with. I can say I'm an interactive bedtime storyteller. And I think, wow, what's that? And you've already started something that they're just intrigued, that they want to know more. If I just said, whatever, but I mean, I love the way that you do that. And I think on LinkedIn as well, especially, you've got to stand out. And like you said, lawyer, people don't know what to say. They think, well, maybe I have to be careful what I say, so I'm not going to say anything. So you've scared people away just by saying lawyer. Boyan?
With lawyers, it's always better before than after. It's like with doctors.
Yeah.
Speak before them.
It's also to do with your picture as well. So
I just realized the picture was used, but it will be after we finish with our featured guest.
Okay, so let's just talk about, was it a pivot point then? So you studied that, you studied all that in Brazil before you moved to Spain?
I beg your pardon, I studied what?
Being a lawyer?
No, I studied being a lawyer. I studied law in Spain.
All right, so what did you study in Brazil?
When I studied in Brazil, I studied secondary education, primary education.
All right, so you moved and then you went to university in Spain.
Yes.
And it was in which language?
Spanish.
In Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So you studying something completely new in a foreign language?
I did.
Wow. So congratulations on that. So
thank you.
You said you got 2 studies. What's the other one?
2 studies. I'm not sure what you refer to that. You mean when I said about the double degree?
Yes.
double degree was a degree that is a Spanish, it refers to having a Spanish degree that I can practice law in Spain, and a Brazilian degree that I can practice law in Brazil.
Okay, all right. Because I found a lot of people, yeah, we got Brazilian friends that came from Brazil to Switzerland as doctors, but then had to go and be retrained on certain things because it wasn't accepted to be a doctor here with the certificates that they got there. So yeah, sometimes you have to do things twice. So was there a turning point in your life that made you decide that this is the direction that I want to go?
Perhaps I need to kind of tell you where I am just now. Right now, I have a business. I own a business, so I run a business.
This is your own business. My own business.
I have been running this business for the past 7 years. So when you ask me if there was a turning point, yes. The turning point was around 7 years ago, or around 8 years ago. A few different things in my life happened. One of them is my dad passed away. My dad was an entrepreneur. My dad had his own business. My mom also had her own business. But I was also turning 30. So I had the feeling that I needed to do something with my life, something meaningful with my life. I couldn't just be an employee of someone forever. And that was basically the turning point to get where I am now.
First of all, sorry for the death of your father. And it made you kind of refocus on this is where I want to go now. This is my business and I want to take it kind of to the next step.
More than me focusing on this has to be the next step is I cannot continue on the previous one. It was not clear. It was not clear that, okay, this is where we're going, but it's clear we are not going this way any longer anymore. Like this way is not for us anymore. So that road is blocked.
Excuse me, I got the kids knocking on the door. Can you believe it? So now in your business, you have a team, or you do it independently, or you partner with other lawyers for different things?
I work both ways. I have a small team. I have a trainee. I have a partner. And I also work with different lawyers in different parts of the world for different aspects of what I have to do.
Right, do excuse me.
Can you do
Abby, can you go and ask Mummy, please?
It's the same at home.
Say hello to everyone.
Hi.
Say 𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛.
Say you first.
Hello.
Go on, say 𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛.
No. Hello.
Hello, say hello.
I did already.
All right, okay.
What can you do this?
Abby, can you go to Mummy, please? It's always when you're on a call, right? So she's my younger daughter. She's got a twin brother. Right, so do excuse me. So I forgot where we were. Right, so in your business, you do partner with other people as well?
I do.
But you focus on, what's your main focus now?
What I do.
Yes, exactly.
What I do. So I'm a lawyer specialized in intellectual property. That is, let's break that down. Intellectual property is copyright, artistic work, trademarks, designs, and patents. We have something that is called prosecution of those rights, because those are rights you have to acquire with the relevant authority in the relevant country you are trading. So one side of the business is helping clients acquire those rights. And the other side of the business is the other two sides. There are two sides. One is helping clients profit from the rights they have acquired. That is, ensure that the contracts are done in the best way possible so that their commercial agreements are working for them. And the last leg of the business is defending those rights. So if you have an infringement, someone copied, etc., we step in to defend, to enforce the rights through court.
Wow. So you cover pretty much everything that all businesses need.
Yes, you could say that.
So who are you? Because all businesses need it, then the question is, who are your typical clients?
My typical clients, I work with different size of business, is from entrepreneurs to big companies. In the food industry, in the clothing and footwear industry, technology, tourism, all sorts of industries. My typical clients generally already have an understanding that he needs intellectual property because he's not geolocalized. He's in the different countries in the world. He's trending in different countries.
So would you say it's typically companies that have a product?
No.
No?
No. A percentage of my clients do have products, but another percentage of my clients trade services. And my clients in the tourism industry are trading services.
Okay, so if you could pick any one group to focus on, do you have a certain group, or you like the diversity of all the different types?
I enjoy the diversity. The diversity is beautiful. Of course, it's clear and more obvious when you're dealing with products, especially food products. You can see the results you're doing every single time. You can see your client's product on the shelves of the supermarket. So you don't have to go further. When you're dealing with other types of services, maybe it's not that obvious, it's not that, but it's as exciting as well. Did
you get involved in any legal disputes over patent infringement and stuff?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Any that you can share, or is it kind of?
I worked for a big company company worldwide. Is a bakery company where we had to take the dispute I was working on arose because this was a family business back in the 50s. Part of the family emigrated to Mexico and open a branch of the business in Mexico. At one point in time, the branches got separated and one side of the family business was sold to different companies. So they lost the control of the company, and the other side continue with the branch. And at a later point in time, the problem was these two brands were existing in the market, and they wanted to reinvest in the Spanish and European territory, and that was not possible because 𝗬𝗢𝗪𝗏, half of the business that was divided back in the days, was still existing. So this case, we had to take this case to court, and eventually, and luckily for the family, for my clients, the business that had the Spanish branch ended up selling that back then to them. So before we got a decision from the European courts, the business was rebought. But I'm talking about litigation that I took on the litigation. Obviously, I didn't start it, but this particular case involved over 20 years of negotiations, purchase trials, non-agreements, other small battles in a small court. So it was not something easy, and so
not straightforward. Yeah. So, but there's been lots of different kind of things. What's your favorite part of the job? Because I mean, sorting legal kind of disputes can't be very nice, particularly win or lose. There's always someone that is going to be upset. So typically,
as long as I'm in the right side, it's always fun.
Yeah, but do you prefer something other than that in the job?
Of course, I prefer. Of course, there are things I prefer. What I like the most is the contract work, the consultants work. I also do a lot of teaching and training. And if I have to pick one thing I absolutely adore doing, that will be teaching.
Okay. So, yeah, before we run out of time, let's open it up to kind of the audience to participate as well. So have you got any questions that you'd like to ask the audience, or they've got any questions they want to ask you? I mean, I can think of one if you haven't got one.
Just help me then.
All right. Okay. So a lot of us here have a business of sorts, and I would just be curious to know, has anybody got any kind of legal documents, NDAs, contracts, or anything in place, or they're just winging it at the moment? So just raise their hands, winging it. So raise their hands, anyone that's got any legal documents in place.
Like intellectual property.
Very good.
Yeah. Right.
My father.
So who hasn't got anything in place, then maybe raise your hand. Right. Okay, Chris, that's one client you've got. Right. Okay. Yeah, we can't see the others yet, but I mean, particularly for startups, would you say for startups is also very important, particularly if you've got a startup with a great idea, you don't want someone stealing it because you haven't protected it.
I think it's great that you're saying that. I think it's great that you're saying that because the message experts in intellectual property have been sent to the world is getting into people's head. But I think the message has to go a little bit deeper. It has to have a little bit more context. And when I say that, okay, so the practicality is 90% of business are actually micro businesses, solo entrepreneurs, 90% of the business worldwide. That's quite a lot, right? For someone that as a solopreneur has opened a business saying, oh, you have to protect your idea because otherwise you're going to be copied and you won't be able to defend yourself. Who cares? I just want to make money to pay my bills at the end of the month and maybe have a mini holiday at the end of the year, right? So it's not something that in practical terms incentivize anyone to take any sort of measure. And I don't think the value of intellectual property is there. So when you have an idea, I generally break if I bring it to my field, I break the idea into what is your idea? What is there? How are you going to be trading? What are you selling? Are you selling a product? So if you're selling a product, how are you going to call it? So there you have a trademark. What is the aesthetic feature of this product? Is this particular, interesting, specific, different, unique, that your consumer will be more attracted to it than to whatever your competitors are doing? Yes, then you have a design there. Is there some sort of technical solution to a problem that does not exist in the world? Maybe, perhaps, then we have a patent there. Okay, so we break the idea down, but go a little bit further. So business and law go together, and we cannot separate business and law. And when I say that, I'm talking about not only the setup of a business, I'm talking about the running of a business. I'm talking about what you have to do on everyday basis, the contracts you have to sell. So contracts is a matter of law, is a matter of people's interest. You have to find someone that is as interested as you to move whatever you want forward. No, it's not only, sometimes is it transactional, is merely transaction, and is one-time transaction. When I buy an iPhone, I pay for my iPhone and that's it. It's transaction one time. But if I'm a company, I might be buying iPhones every single month. So it's a transaction that kind of repeats itself, is recurrent in time. When it's recurring in time, then there's some other sort of obligations, and not only obligation, but expectations Apple has to fulfill to be willing to trade with you. Okay, so that is the same for your small business. So business and legal are always hand in hand, and you have to have that in mind when you're thinking of intellectual property. And intellectual property is the enabler of your business. It's the enabler of your business because, one, you're going to use ultimately to make that go and sell whatever you're selling. Make the consumer be interested in what you're selling. Make the consumer, oh, that company with that name, I heard that before. Where did I hear? Oh, it's because someone might have recommended to me. It must be excellent, so I'll do it. Oh, their customer service is amazing. I'm going to buy it from them. So what you're buying is not really the brand, but the brand makes you remember who is providing the service. What you're buying is the expectation you heard of, the expectation of a certain customer service, the expectation of the performance of a product or a service. But the brand, the design, the patent help you to retain who is the one that is investing in that type of thing. So intellectual property is business, is at the service of business. But intellectual property is not protection, as you refer to it. Oh, because my idea is going to get copied. Because if you're a small trader, if someone copies you and you don't have the budget to go to courts, you don't have anything. What you have is a right. What you have, if you have a registered trademark, if you have a registered design, if you have a registered patent, those registrations, those rights enable you to enforce those rights in case something happens. They enable you to create better agreements with partners. They enable you to connect with consumers. So the rights are enablers of something that might happen in the future, is an investment in the future. Let's say you buy an apartment and you want to rent it, but the return you get in the apartment is not immediate. The return you get is in the future. And it's the same here as an investment, as a resource. You invest today in those rights to get a return in the future. And the return is the possibility of being the top of mind of your consumer, make better agreements, and be able to defend your business interests.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to consider. I think there's a couple of things that put people off, particularly if you're a solopreneur, business owner, startup, and you're kind of self-funding it. Then when someone says about legal stuff and all these legal documents that you need, straight away you think, oh, that I didn't budget for any sort of that cost. Before you even know the price, you're already scared away. So you think, oh, that'll have to wait. I can't go down there because I don't have the money for that. And then the other one is education. I don't understand. So if I don't understand, then I don't even know who to talk to in the first place. In my naivety, I'll put it off. So I think these are kind of two of the main factors. Don't you think?
So I will address your concerns regarding the costs. Of course, enforcing a right in courts where a lawyer will have to read, understand, prepare a case, that costs might be relevant. Okay, so enforcing. But when we're talking about enforcement, we're talking about the future. You don't know if it's going to happen or if it's not going to happen. We do not make investments thinking of a risk in the future. We're thinking about a return in the future. So the return is that you get better deals. To have these better deals, to have a trademark registration, for example, in Spain, the cost is minimal, 120 euros. If you tell me a solopreneur doesn't have 120 euros to file for a trademark, I say, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be in business.
Very interesting. So, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, we'll have a separate conversation later.
Okay, so in terms of costs, of course, if we're talking about a legal action, we talk about different things. But if we're talking about investing in a registration, in a trademark registration, for example, the costs are irrelevant.
Yeah.
Any business should be able to cope with that cost.
Right. So I just want to ask one of our audience if she's still there, Galina.
Yes, I'm here.
Are you? Yeah.
I need to actually run in 2 minutes. I was just about to write it. But
yes. Are you about to write something? I'm reading.
Yeah, well, just to kind of to say bye.
I was kind of reading your mind because I know that you're a startup and everything. So
yeah,
go on then. Ask your question.
No. Well, that was first of all, super interesting topic, Joanna, and it opened my eyes a lot because, as you know, as James also mentioned, as a startup, you don't think in the first place about these things, right? And then also sometimes the doubts that I would have, it's like, is it actually worth registering? Like, is it, shouldn't I first check whether it works, kind of a thing? Maybe it's silly, but you're so focused on success, you're so focused on kind of like taking this thing out that you don't think about intellectual property. So this was extremely valuable talk to me, for me. And also what's really not clear is like, is it like, to what extent the idea should be trademarked, like, or what should be exactly trademarked? Is it, I have this idea about like how data should be used, right? So is it like, am I registering how? Am I registering what? So there are like multiple things that are absolutely new to people like me, for example, that we never came across this, that I think we really need to be educated about it. So this is why actually I was about to connect with you on LinkedIn because I have more questions about that. But yeah, James, you're absolutely right. It's like, it's for a startup, I think it's a very big thing. And it's for many of us, it's a known thing.
Yeah, actually, sorry, just before we go there, because you've been in startup programs and stuff. So, do they mention about this when you're thinking about your startup, or is it more about pitching your product or whatever?
Yeah, well, mostly the programs that I'm in, it's about like I'm really early stage, so it's about like how to get pitch, how to get your deck. But when I was speaking with some of the angel investors, they were asking like, did you guys patent this? And I was like, what patent, what? So there were one or two who asked about it. But again, you are thinking, well, when I see that it's worth something, I'll patent it. You don't also think that the price to patent it is so low. Like Giovanna, to me, that was like really.
It's different. It's a different thing. It's a different thing. Okay, so, but the other aspects of things need to be considered. So, like I said, when you're thinking of an idea, the idea per se doesn't get any sort of rights to anything. The idea doesn't have rights and cannot get rights. So what is that idea composed of? You break that idea down and you realize what are the parts that you need to get a right on. Of course, any idea, anything you're selling, there has to be a name. You have to trade it with something. You have to have a website. You have to have social media these days, where are you going to sell it? So you want to make it easy for the consumer, right? So when you're talking about trademarks, when you're talking about names of business, we're talking about trademarks. When you're talking about symbols, a symbol you use, a logo you use, a symbol you use in commerce for your consumer to remember you. Think of the N of Netflix. When you see that N, you know, oh, Netflix, what are they doing now? When you see the little crocodile, the Lacoste crocodile, you know, oh, this clothing is amazing. Oh, whatever.
When you see the J for James.
Sorry?
When you see it, when you see the V for visibility impact, you know it's me.
Yes.
Okay.
So when you see something, these things are not at the very beginning of a business. These things are not that obvious. But what is obvious is a name. You're gonna have to have a name. The other things will become relevant as you go forward. So the other things you do things step by step. You don't have to do everything in one bucket. Of course. The difference with patenting, what is there? Patenting, patent rights is rights, rights to an invention, to a technical solution to a problem. Just for you to have an idea, what kind of technical solution could it be? It could be something very complex, okay, that you need an engineer of some sort to come up to, but it could be something as simple as any coffee drinkers in the room. Have you ever did filtered coffee?
Sorry, ever what?
Filtered coffee? Filtered coffee?
Oh yeah.
Do you use coffee paper filters?
No, guilty.
How complex? My question to you is how complex a coffee paper filter is?
Not complex at all. Very simple idea. Just put a paper in that has little holes and then bam.
Exactly. So as simple as a coffee paper filter is, that at one point in time was a technical solution to the problem of filtering coffee. And at one point in time, there was patent rights over it. So only 𝗪𝗏𝗧 could sell coffee paper filters at one point in time. Patent rights will have a 20-year lifespan. So when you're thinking of patent rights, even if you decide to invest, you have to think of this 20 years and having a very, very, very efficient selling plan is of the utmost importance, because 20 years seems too long, but is actually very short. When Nespresso coffee capsules and coffee machines started to become a thing, it started to become successful and making money for Nestlé, the patents will already have elapsed.
Yeah, just talking about Nespresso, because they use the aluminium little capsules, yeah. Well, I thought aluminium is bad for you, like if it gets into your system. Isn't there fragments of that in the coffee when it's actually perforated?
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Could I not sue
We will
them
know after 20 years when it was.
Yes, I wouldn't be able to tell you that. But what I can tell you is that when they start making money with the machines and with the capsules, the patents were already gone. So
that's why they have so many competitors now, right?
Yes.
But they changed the business model as well. So it was
a question on geography. And these all have geographical implications as well, right? If you patent something somewhere, it's not valid all over the world unless you patent it everywhere. So like different in China versus Japan versus US versus Europe. So how much more expensive would it make, you know, the whole deal? I mean, you multiply by X, or is it just like, I don't know, 20% more?
It's not a straightforward
I
calculation.
know.
It's not a straightforward calculation. So when you get your patent mother or your patent parent, you're going to need someone to help you draft it, because a patent document, especially a trademark and a design, is not as complicated as a patent, but a patent document has to have a description of the field of the innovation, what has been going on in that particular field of innovation. It has to describe what is the innovation. It has to have claims, which is what actually you want to have the right to.
Mm-hmm. And
very often some drawings to illustrate how the innovation works. So they are the parts of a patent document. And of course, drafting this is not something that can be done in a few hours. It's not something that it needs a previous study. It needs understanding of the field of technology. It needs researching. So it is not the fees, the government fees to apply for are not that high. But the drafting part, having someone to help you drafting that, can rise up the number, no? Can ramp up the number.
But this is only you do it once, right?
But so you do it once, exactly.
Yeah,
you do it once. You do it for your parent patent. Then when you're internationalizing, what you do is translations.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And then you might, different governments might have a slightly different requirements. So you might have to amend certain things to comply with those requirements.
Yeah. Okay, clear. Thank you. And it's also the tricky thing as well, because as you just described, you have to provide full details of what your invention is. And if I remember correctly, that's why, for example, the Coca-Cola recipe is not patented, because they would have to reveal their recipe. So it's just like they're playing by chance. If someone discovers it, they cannot do anything on the recipe. So
well, there is actually two reasons for that. It's not only that you have to disclose what the innovation is, but also the lifespan of the rights. So the lifespan of a patent is 20 years, and 20 years seems a lot, but it flies by for a business. For a person, maybe it's a lot of time, but for a business, we have business that are 100 years old, 150 years old, you know. So having a trade secret is what Coca-Cola has in regards of the recipe.
Yeah.
If they can maintain the secrecy, the lifespan of the secrecy is potentially forever and ever and ever. So for a business is relevant, but not all things you are able to maintain a secret so well.
Correct. Yes.
I have a question. Why 20 years?
Just because.
No, I think there is something else, because when you patent something, this is what I think, you make something to make the life of you and also your customers good. So maybe this is how the society opens this invention for everyone who can. So it gives you advantage, but then it's open so to keep this innovation to work for everybody.
And it's 15 is too short, 25 would be too long, so they ended up with 20.
No, but maybe it's coming from the international law. This.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, we could talk about this forever.
It's interesting topics.
I think it is. So, yeah.
And now we have a lawyer for free.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. So So
I think after 3 o'clock, she's charging already.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, how would we learn more about you? I mean, do you do any programs? Did you do any kind of educational? Did you do webinars or anything that we could also rally around and see if we can get an audience that would be interested in learning more?
I do all sorts of things. I'm very present on LinkedIn. I am very present on Instagram. I share a lot of, I love Instagram because it's easier and more approachable. And I can be more relaxed than I can be on LinkedIn. And I do lots of webinars. I participate in lots of different activities. They are free of charge especially for European Union SMEs and small and medium-sized enterprise. And in the definition of European small and medium-sized enterprise, you know that solopreneurs are included. So if you want to take part of one of these activities, just get in touch and I'll make you.
So you have your own business name or something, your own business?
Yes. So on Instagram, for example, you find me at @𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛.
Okay.
I'll type it here.
Right, I put in your LinkedIn connection there, but I'll share those also in EntNest so people can see them. So anyone that kind of dropped off, I'll share the notes and things in there. So any kind of closing remarks or anything that we can help you with your business?
Just to spread the word, just tell everyone that intellectual property is not a matter of cost. That if you have a business, you should be able to afford it.
Oh, yeah, another question. You do it in multiple languages?
I do.
Right. So if we wanted in English or whatever, I mean,
Hungarian, Bulgarian.
Oh, I didn't get to that level yet.
We help you.
So we can help you too.
Right. Okay, then. So people are dropping off now because we are over time. So, but I've recorded this, and yeah, as I said, that I'll share with our guest. Always gets a copy, and anyone that wants a copy, then they can request one as well. I'm not just going to like share it out to everybody. They have to request it, right? But you can also pass it on to people you know if they want to kind of look back and see how good you were on here. But as I said, this is a very interesting topic. It applies to all of us, right? And we should at least be educated, and then from there we can make a decision. Do we want to go with it or don't we? But if we don't know, then
absolutely. With my last remarks, James, sorry to interrupt you. This is going to be my last remark. What I learned working with small business owners is that having a registered trademark, having a registered design, perhaps not a patent, but having this smaller intellectual property rights register is not only good for the business, but is good for their mindset. Because when you're a solopreneur, especially, you think, oh, this is my business, I'm trying to sell myself, I'm not and when you have a trademark, when you have a separate entity, when you have, you know, like, oh, no, this is my business, this is my product, this is my trademark. In their heads is like, I'm doing something worthwhile just because I have a registered trademark. And that moves the business forward slightly faster and more efficiently than if they were doing without a trademark.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, I'm just looking at your website here. Who built it?
Actually, myself.
I'm quite impressed, actually. I mean, it's very attractive.
I just checked your LinkedIn profile. We have one common friend, David Cooper. You remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know him for a long time. He used to live in Geneva, and now he's in Madrid. He's a financial advisor at
yes.
What is it? United Advisor, something like that. Anyway, he's on your link.
Yeah, we have 7 in common. Oh, Paul, you're all connected.
Yeah, I know. I was just moving, so I thought I would switch off while I move.
Oh, you've just done that now?
Yeah, I'm trying to find a more comfortable chair. It was a long time to sit.
No, I meant connected to 𝗬𝗢𝗨 on the LinkedIn.
No, he was there from the beginning. No, well,
No,
10
I
minutes.
connected with her when I saw that she was the upcoming guest. Yeah, I'm proactive.
Oh, very good. Very good. Right. But you also work with businesses in South Africa.
Yeah.
So they could be potentially interested also to understand more.
Yeah, for sure. I think, yeah, I don't want to get into it now because we're near the end, but what I find is often entrepreneurs want me to sign an NDA before they tell me anything. And those people I walk away from. So you've got to get a balance between the property, the real property that you're protecting, and your ability to share. I mean, you don't have to share the whole secret, but you have to share the business opportunity. Otherwise, no investor will look at you.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess in the US that they seem to be quite anal in a way when it comes to all of this. I work for a company that said, you can't go to a meeting unless you have an NDA. I said, but I'm not going to share anything more than what's already out on the internet and the public domain. And then said, no, you've got to get an NDA. And I said, it's going to be harder to get an NDA signed because it has to go through all the legal process than to actually get the meeting. They'll cancel the meeting because of the NDA.
Yes, that happens a lot. That happens a lot. So you've got to be careful. You've got to balance that walk quite carefully.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so Giovanni, you have been our 49th, a wonderful guest. Right, Paul has still not been a guest yet, but he's down to be a guest. So you're around other guests, right? Right. Laszlo and 𝗏𝗧𝗧 were guests also. So yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've learned something also from being on this call. I think it would be extremely valuable to do kind of a webinar or something with a focus on what you can do for businesses. And we could propose it to Johan in 𝗬𝗏𝗏. You could do something there, and then we can help promote it for you. Or I mean, open to ideas on how you work together. But also within businesses, they might need the legal part, but they might also need our services. So it's about team kind of collaboration. If they want to grow their business, then I can help them there. If they want to do something else, maybe Paul or Laszlo or 𝗏𝗧𝗧 can help. So it's about creating that community of trusted people.
Absolutely. A business, I think a business as a little forest, and you need a little bit of everything. You need the rain, you need the air, you need the soil, you need the leaves that fall. So you need to nurture or be nurtured from every single aspect. Taking care of one side and leaving the other to the elements is not a great idea. So everything needs to tie in together.
Nice closing words. Thank you.
Yeah. So on that note, thank you very much again. Thanks for being a 49th guest. And do come and join others, because every week there's always a very interesting guest. And typically people like Paul, Laszlo and 𝗏𝗧𝗧 are regulars. And it's really interesting to get to know different people. So now we know more about you. You're much more approachable. So we can reach out to you. Whereas before you can be standoffish if you don't know someone, but now we've made that connection. I think it kind of free flowing, and I'm sure from people that have been on this call are going to reach out to you naturally anyway.
Do, because I'm a lawyer. There's an alchemist.
Yeah, the alchemist, not the lawyer. Right?
I'm not just a lawyer.
That is what I'm taking away from this conversation.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so Paul, yeah, you'll have to change your title.
Yeah.
All of us, I think we all should change.
What can I say?
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, everyone.
You
Have
too.
a good weekend. Bye-bye.
See you next Friday.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye.
Cheers. Cheers, James.
Thanks. Bye. You're welcome.